I love this whole Give Hope season and what that stands for and how our gifts are going to be used. And I appreciate and thankful for Nokomis's vision and passion for that. And I pray that you will join in and give generously. And it's exciting to see how God takes that vision and spreads it out and people participate in it. So thank you for your gifts. We started out the service recognizing and honoring Ben. And if you came in a little bit late, we shared that our former lead pastor, Ben Merrill, has passed away this week and is in the presence of heaven. And it grieves us, and it's one of those odd things how you can celebrate and be truly joyful that this man is standing in the presence of God, but also still have great sadness of your heart. And I think that's what the Bible calls grieving with hope, isn't it? And but we all do that. You grieve in your life, but we have the promise of heaven, and it is real. And so we honored him at the beginning of the service. And when you see Pat and Mark here today, you encourage them and love on them. We've been talking about being selfless and not selfish the past few weeks. We've talked about how our world is very selfish, how it's self-promoting and self-serving and putting yourself out there to make sure you're not trampled down, but we overextend ourselves and putting ourselves on top. And today we want to continue that. So last week we talked about self-serving, and I asked you to serve someone else this week. Remember I said when you serve others, you're serving Jesus. So how'd you do with that? Anybody do it? Come on. Nobody served nobody? Oh, yeah, you did. Okay, two of you did. That's good. Well, I hope that you are serving and looking at opportunities, and that's not something we do one time. We continue to serve in the name of Jesus. And before that, we talked about, Nokomis shared about selfless generosity, and we're doing that today through Give Hope. But it's just what we do in our life, that you see a need and you say, God, how do I participate in this and helping? And you become a generous heart and a generous person. And God blesses that generosity. We want to bless the people of Korah. Also, we talked about selfless witness, that you be bold in your faith and sharing an opportunity arises. You stand up. And today we're going to talk about selfless gratitude. Selfless gratitude. There's a way we can be thankful, but almost even promote ourselves. And this week is a big holiday. It's Thanksgiving coming up. People love Thanksgiving. Some, it's their favorite holiday. We love Thanksgiving. Some are just excited because it's 4 days off school or 4 days off work, and that's the best thing about the holiday. Others, it's the food. Anybody like the food? Yep, I like the food. So, you get the turkey and the mashed potatoes and the pie and the whipped cream, and I like whipped cream with a little bit of pie. It's just good. And I love the phrase, Thanksgiving is the time when we gobble till we wobble, right? Just one of those fun times. And to other people, it's the football games, one after another. Other people, it's their family getting together. Other people, that's their least favorite thing about Thanksgiving. But we all get together and we share. But the whole point of that is to stop and to be thankful as a person and as a country. Many times we go through a holiday like this and we just kind of do the holiday and forget what the purpose of it is. And if any nation in the world should be grateful to God, it should be the United States. And if any people in the United States should be in an attitude of gratitude and be thankful, it should be Christians. And of all the Christians across the country, this church, you should be that person, that Christian who is truly thankful to God for grace and for blessings and for provision and how he's worked in your life. We should have a gratitude that is not about yourself, but saying, God, in the midst of heartache and struggle and difficulties, I am thankful for you, for what you're doing. He's been good to us all. We should be thankful. Many times we're not. It's like the couple that's on a real strict diet and he sits down and he looks at his meal and he goes, there's no meat, it's all green, it's all steamed. And he says to his wife, you need to say the blessing because if I thank God for this, he'll know I'm lying. Yeah. One of those times you just go, I'm just not thankful for where I'm at. I'm not thankful for where I'm at here. And we want more. You get that time. You just want what's next. When you're a freshman, you just think, I can't wait till I'm a senior. I just can't wait till I'm out of school. I can't wait till I can get a job and start making money. And I can't wait till I get a girlfriend, boyfriend. I can't wait till I get my car. Just get the first car, and it doesn't matter how bad it is. You just want a car, and you're so thankful. But then you think, I need another car, and I can't wait till I get married. I can't wait till we have kids. I can't wait till I can sleep through the night again. I can't wait till I keep changing diapers. I can't wait till they all get in school. And I can't wait till they get out of school. I can't wait till they leave home. And then I can't wait for the better job. I can't wait till I just get through this project. It's so busy right now. It's just hectic season. If I can just get through this project, if I can just get these bills paid off, if I can just move through this issue, then life's going to be better. You ever think that? Sure we do. If we can just get through this season right now, because it's so hard. If I can just get to retirement, if I can just get there, and we spend so much of our time, frankly, wishing away the present and where we're at. Because there's got to be something better. We're waiting for the reward. We're waiting for the prize. If I can just get through this, then life is going to be good. Life is going to be easy. And we even make the promises to those people around us because we're wishing it's true. And we find when we get through this season, the next season has its difficulties as well. Every season does. And we're looking for the rewards out there and the prize out there. And I think I'd like for us to stop today and think about something different. Have a selfless gratitude. A couple of things. I think perhaps the work is the reward. The work right now. That means the school right now. The family situation right now. The process of whatever you're doing in life, that this is a reward. And you're thinking, no, this ain't no reward. This is difficult. This is hard. It's challenging. But what if instead of thinking it's out there, some elusive thing that I can't ever reach, that I can't ever touch, that God's presence with you right now, working in your life and giving you purpose, is a reward. And so we need to look at that. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31 says, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Now he's talking about a couple of mundane things, eating and drinking, just kind of doing life. Or whatever there is in your life, mundane or hectic or crazy or challenging, whatever you do it all for the glory of God. If we could just pause today and think, what is on my plate? What is pressing down on me? How do I take this and do it for the glory of God? How can I do school for the glory of God? How can I do this project? How can I do my job, which is so stressful right now? How can I do this for the glory of God? How can I do this marriage, which is just stressing me out? It's hard. How can I do this for the glory of God? How can I do parenting? How can I achieve goals and do it for the glory of God? If I do it for the glory of God, then it's not doing it for myself. I'm accomplishing, I'm working, I'm struggling. But if whatever I do it for the glory of God, it takes a different direction. It takes a different spin. It takes an intentionality that is different about us. It's saying the difficulties, I'm struggling with my health, but I even do that for the glory of God? And he says, yes. Read the verse with me, would you? So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Now, Paul did not have an easy life. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. He writes this, and he says, for I am the least of the apostles and do not even deserve to be called an apostle because I persecuted the church of God. He's saying, I had a really bad past. He was going around thinking Christians were horrible, and he was actually throwing them in jail, and he was having them killed. He was a really bad guy. And then he met Jesus and was confronted, and his life turned around, and everything was there with grace. And he says, I am so undeserving of God's grace and being called a follower. He says, but by the grace of God, I am what I am. That's significant. You may have a past. We all do. You may be struggling right now with yesterday, where you're going through, and say, God, I don't deserve this. But by the grace of God, you do. Say that, by the grace of God. By the grace of God. That's a gift that he gives you because he loves you. By the grace of God, I am what I am, and his grace to me was not without effect. That means that grace, it made a huge difference in my life. It turned everything around. He says, no, I worked harder than all of them. He said, man, I worked hard, yet not I, but the grace of God that was with me. And he worked hard. I mean, he did so much. He went around sharing the gospel. He was thrown in prison different times. He was beaten and told to stop doing this. He was in a shipwreck, but he just kept on going and kept on going. He says, I worked really hard. And he says, but in reality, I didn't do it. It was God in me. He had this all figured out. It was God working in him and through him that gave him purpose, that gave him reason to live, that gave him direction. And that's a selfless attitude. Wherever you're at in life right now, say, you don't know where I've been. You don't know where I'm at right now. But by the grace of God, you can be all that God's called you to be. In whatever your situation is right now. In school, in work, in your family, in your neighborhood, in your disappointments, in your health struggles, in your financial worries, you can be who God has called you to be at this moment and turn the direction around. There was an older gentleman at our church years back who had a lot of health issues, a lot of struggles. And his phrase that he'd almost always use, I'd see him and say, Doyle, you know what? It doesn't get any better than this. And it wasn't depressing. He'd say it with a smile. As he was joyful and grateful for the day he had. And he was an incredible example of someone who would just say, God's here today. God's working in this situation, all the pain that he's in, and God's here today. Can you say that? Whatever the mundane thing is in your life that you are so bored, you're stuck in this phase, stuck changing those diapers, you're stuck waiting for the job, you're stuck waiting for that promise that you want to be fulfilled in your life, and the promise from your boss is just not coming, and you think, when is this going to be? Can you in that moment say, God, you are still here with me. And you've given me a purpose, even though I can't see it right now, to know that God has given you the purpose. By the grace of God, he is working in your heart and your life. Would you read this phrase with me? Do it all for the glory of God. Again, do it all for the glory of God. Can you do today for the glory of God? Another, I think, attitude that will help us with the selfless gratitude is recognizing that the journey is the prize. It's this journey called life. It's how we're going through this, and you think, man, this is not how I planned it. And when I was younger, I planned my whole life out, and I've not met any of those goals, and it's taken this huge detour. It's not working. You're saying, this is not right. But he's saying the life, and even in the midst of all the heartaches and trouble, that God is there. See, so many times when we're looking ahead, when's that next thing going to happen? When am I going to get through this? When is this going to turn around? When we get that house, when we get that job, when we get this project done, we're spending so much time ahead that we're forgetting about the journey that God has brought us on. As a family, you're going to go on a trip. You're going to go to Disney. You got hours and hours and hours in the car. You get an hour down the road, and your kids ask you the question. They say, yeah, you've been there, haven't you? Are we there yet? You think, no, we're not. And they continue to ask that question. And we do the very same thing with God. God, are we there yet? Come on, can we just get there? Can we just do what I really want in my life? Can we just get past this problem? Can we just get through these bills? And we just can't keep struggling and getting there. But how about the journey? How about the detours of life? And think, this can't be from God. Someone threw this in there, but he's promised that no matter what, he's going to work through all those circumstances to bring good. And say, God, I can't see you right now. Can you help me see you in the midst of this? Instead of just saying where we're going and wishing the present away, can we just stop and say the process, the growing, the maturing, the struggling through, it's part of our growing in life and part of the journey of life, and God is always with us. Can you see his presence in your life today and in the circumstances today? Because he is there. Acts 20, verse 24. However, I consider my life worth nothing to me. My only aim is to finish the race and complete the task the Lord Jesus has given me. Now, when he says my life was worth nothing, it's not, the context here is not like, this is worthless, this is terrible, I just want my life over with. That isn't it. But it's an attitude of selflessness, saying it's not all about me. It's not all about being the goat we talked about last week. It's not all about the limelights. It's not all about the recognition. But my purpose is to serve God, to finish the race. It's this journey of life, to be faithful in such a way so when it's done, I'm there before God and I complete what God has put in front of me. And he says, the task of testifying to the good news of God's grace. So that's what life is. It's this whole journey. It's this whole process. Today is significant, and tomorrow will be too. But right now, today, my job is to fulfill the call he's put on me, testify to the goodness of God's grace, saying this only by the grace of God that I can do today and honor him and give him glory and give him honor. And again, our dear friend Ben modeled this incredibly well. That he stayed faithful to the task. He never quit. When he stopped being the lead pastor, he continued to serve and teach and faithful, and he touched so many lives. He never gave up on what life had called him to be. And whatever your struggle is, Ben had struggles in his life. You have struggles. Paul had struggles. But to say, I'm going to continue and I'm going to finish the race and complete the task in front of me. I'm going to do what God has called me to do. In the Old Testament, there is a small book called Habakkuk. And Habakkuk was a prophet. It's just a fun word. If you're looking for a name for your kids, you should consider Habakkuk. It's just kind of fun. So Habakkuk was this prophet. When he was alive, it was a very difficult time. King Joachim was the king of Judah, and he was not a follower of God. He was doing everything wrong. He led the whole people astray, and things were bad, bad, bad news. And Habakkuk just kept saying, follow God, and the people just kept turning. And it was a bad, bad season. And we see his life where he was just so disappointed what was there. Because of the unfaithfulness of the people around him, he suffered as well. At the end of this book, chapter 3, verse 17, he writes this. He says, though the fig tree does not bud, and there are no grapes on the vines, though the olive crop fails, and the fields produce no food, he's saying, even if I lose everything, there's no food. But he's talking about their crops. For an agricultural society, he says, we don't have any income. Everything is lost. He says, though there are no sheep in the pen, there's no food, there's no cattle in the stalls, even though everything is going wrong, yet I will rejoice in the Lord, and I will be joyful in God my Savior. The sovereign Lord is my strength. And can you say that? In the midst of your journey of life, you're saying, no, but this is bad. It's really, really bad. But can you step back and say, but by the grace of God, he's here with me, and his presence is with me. And because of that, I can still praise him, and I can still honor him. We just sang the song about a way maker. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. We can sing that robustly here, but can you sing that every day of your life? That God, your presence is with me. I'm confused. I'm sidetracked. I've messed up. I've screwed up. But God, I know you're here today. I know you have a purpose for my life. I can't see it right now. But instead of wishing this away, I believe that you're in this life with me right now. And you're working through today. And I'm going to praise you. The sovereign Lord is my strength. Again, read this with me. Do it all for the glory of God. God, you're in today. Now, there's some roadblocks that get in the way of this. You know, we talk about it. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. And then one interruption comes, and it's hard. And I appreciate Craig Rochelle wrote up a list of he gave us 3 of these, and I added a few more to it. But we intentionally, we want to serve God. We want to do the right thing. We want to be a grateful people. Some distractions, roadblocks. First one would be the pillow. The pillow is the idea that we just want some comfort. I just want to rest. I want life to be easy. One of our grandsons, when he was real small, he would curl up in his blanket, and his phrase was, I'm just so comfy, cozy right now. And I love that. And I thought, I'm a little jealous. I want to be comfy, cozy too. But we want that comfortable. We want the softness. You know, you get that first car, and you're so happy, and then you look at somebody else's car, and you go, wow, I want that. I want the nice cruise. I want the touch screen, and I want that butt warmer, and I want. It's like, oh, I wish I could have all those things. I just need to be a little more comfortable. And we get our house. You're so thrilled with this little one. You go, well, I want a bigger one now. I want more comfort, and I want this, and you just want a little bit more and a little bit more. And when you're looking at their grass, which is so much greener than ours, it takes away your joy and your gratitude. And you get so sidetracked because you're seeing that other stuff, and you think, if I could just have this, if I could just be there, then I could be more comfortable, and have life would be easier. If I could just win the lottery, then everything would be good. Instead of just saying, God, I'm grateful for today. Another roadblock is the shiny thing. It's those distractions. You get the ring, and congratulations, Juliet, you just got engaged. Yeah, that's good. And so you get this little diamond, you're pretty happy, and then you look across the aisle and go, wow, well, look how big that one is. And you kind of, you just kind of go, what is this? And you see something else that blings. And again, you're happy in your car, and you see the nice car, and you think, I need this, and I want this. And that shiny thing can just get you so distracted on what you wish you had. When I was little, at Christmas time, we'd get out the Sears catalog and circle all the things you want. You'd never get it all, but you circle it. We do the same thing as adults. If I could just have this. And you're so thankful for what God has provided for you. But it's never enough. You got to have something more. Think back to the people in Korah. You saw that picture of them living out of the garbage truck. The garbage truck's dumps, and they just grab and try to get something to survive on. And you feel so bad for that. And you stop and say, God, you have blessed me. I'm so thankful. And you're thankful until you look across the street, and then I want that. And I need that. A few years ago, we did a series, and we had a phrase. It's, I already have enough. Can you say that? It just hurts to say that, doesn't it? I already have enough. Can we just live in that? Now, there's that zeal to work to get ahead, but can we just just stop and say, I'm thankful, and not let these distractions, the shiny things, take away your joy, and just say, I'm grateful. Another one is the clock. The clock to me, represents when you're just not taking the time to stop and be grateful. Because you're pressing ahead, you're overcommitted, and you're just pushing, and you ever think and you say, I just don't have enough time, and it's there, and it's part of our culture, part of our society. We're just pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and it's exhausting. But that pushing around you and your schedule, that you just keep adding more and more and more to it, makes a roadblock for you to stop and just be grateful and thankful for God's presence in your life. Because it's pushing you ahead to what the future is. Another one, I call it the chip. The chip is that little thing that sits on your shoulder. You have those, little chip on your shoulder? Because he said, because she did, because you were left out. The person was horrible to you. And it hurts, and that chip just weighs heavier and heavier and heavier. And you can't have an attitude of being thankful when you're carrying that chip around. Sometimes we have a chip against God because we prayed and it didn't happen, or circumstances of life, and we blame God for it, what this person did over here. And that chip, when it's on there, all you can think about is this hurt and that pain and the bitterness. And you can't be thankful and grateful because you're thinking about yourself and what was done to you. It's a roadblock. And one more is just the towel. Now, last week we talked about the towels, what you pick up and serve with, but we can also take that towel. You serve for a while and you feel like you're being taken advantage of. You're frustrated. You're tired. And there's a way we just want to throw in the towel. Just want to quit. I'm done. I want to throw in the towel in this marriage. I'm done. I want to throw in the towel in this relationship. I want to throw in the towel in this school. I'm just so tired of these papers. I'm throwing in the towel on this job. I just want to quit. Sometimes we can even throw in the towel on our faith and our Christianity because we're just tired and worn out. So we haven't stopped and paused and looked and said, by the grace of God and your presence is here today, and you have a purpose in my life, and you're giving me direction. Instead of doing that, we're looking at ourselves and all the things around us, and we just get exhausted and worn out, and we just want to quit. We need to take that towel, and we need to serve. We need to ask God for his direction, and just pause and say, God, how do you want me to honor you today? Being grateful. The prize is not someday down the road when I achieve it all. The reward is not when someone recognizes me and gives me all of it. The reward is today. It's called life. And the prize is God's with you even in the midst of mundane and problems. And sure, you have those high moments of ultimate joy and thrill. And some of you will have that this week. And some of you, what your expectations were for the holidays, it'll be the opposite and disappointment. But whether it's a high joy or a great disappointment, can you stop and say, God, I know you're here with me. And I'm thankful for this. You know, I've learned that when I stop and I'm thankful, I can refocus. And when I'm thankful, I actually want less. You know, when I just pause and say, God, you've given me so much. And all this stuff the world has to offer, it doesn't really matter. It's just more stuff to take care of and more things that go wrong and break and more pressures and more problems. And when I can just stop and say, God, I thank you. When you thank more, you want less. You can be more content, more satisfied. You're able to have that selfless witness and stand for your faith and those things that you're passionate about, whether it's politics or sports or your family or your achievements. Can you be passionate about God and his presence in your life and that selfless generosity? And man, it's not hard to set things aside and say, we're going to give to those people of Korah. We're going to be this because it's about God working through me and everything I have belongs to him. Or my selfless serving. The phrase last week, I'm a servant of the Most High God, and when I serve others, I serve Jesus. That I'm going to serve. It's not about me, it's God working in me. And whatever I do, it's for the glory of God in my life and working through it. And that brings gratitude. Read it with me again. Do it all for the glory of God. One more verse, 1 Thessalonians. It says, rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. All circumstances. When this is written, it wasn't written at an easy time. Saying, I can have joy even in the midst of pain. I can pray always. And sometimes our prayer is, God, please help me. God, please help. God, please. But when I even pray in that prayer, I'm focusing on God getting me through this, not just me, myself. And then you can give thanks in all circumstances, no matter what. And that's selfless gratitude. It's not about me. It's about God working through me. This week, Thanksgiving, all those stuff going on. Hope you can pause and be thankful in that day. But how about let's pause and be thankful for today. And tomorrow, take some time to be thankful that God's presence is with you. And recognize the reward is what he's providing for you in the midst of your struggles right now. One more time, read this. Do it all for the glory of God.